Vagabond Adventure Pictures present Mr. Tom Ferris, who on account of his wanderings in foreign lands, producing motion pictures, has gained for himself the name of the Vagabond Director. And today our Vagabond will take you to Central America.
Well, here we are in Guatemala, with its ancient cathedrals, palaces, and old-world memories. And here the great slumbering volcano del Fuego, always threatening, always menacing. At its feet, reminders of a day when the soldiers of Cortes swept the land, when the natives were amazed to see for the first time the horses of the Spaniards, and when royal palaces raised their proud heads everywhere. Along these now empty highways swept men in armor with sword and lance and visor, Spaniards in cloth of gold, Indians in feathers and jewels. The loveliest churches were here, with numerous columns and exquisite carving, and beautifully molded figures of saints and martyrs, frescoed walls, designed by many of Spain's greatest artists. But even now, ruined as they are by volcanoes, their former splendor can never be effaced, and amidst lovely fields of flowers, other noble cathedrals have since been born. Here once lived Don Pedro Alvarado, a lieutenant of Cortes, who conquered Guatemala and started building these beautiful palaces. But the wrath of the volcano destroyed everything, including his lovely wife, who was known as Beatrice the Hapless. When the mighty earthquake occurred, this beautiful church suffered with the rest. Gone are the precious altars, perfumed incense, the resonant chords of the organ, melodious voices. The only sound now, the hoarse croak of the vultures, the flapping of their ugly wings. Passing these old cloisters, I reached a church that was once the greatest in all America, the most holy cathedral of San Francisco. A church so wonderful that to this day it is worshipped in reverent adoration. A church as beautiful as any that the world has ever seen. Interested, I followed this native into the church, and there I gazed, saddened at its vast emptiness, its vacant window, its great vaulted dome, and its exquisitely carved ceiling. Here the native told me of yet another noble church, that of Esquipulas, placed to where he was bound, and in which he said was to be found the Black Christ. The Black Christ. It was a story that interested me intensely, and I resolved to follow him and see it. So it didn't take me long to reach the town and its interesting marketplace, where unlike the great chain stores of today, here each vendor has only one kind of goods, such as limes, mangoes, or zapatillas. And this is the gate to the market, where all vendors entering must pay dues. Many of them carry tremendous packs, weighing over 100 pounds. Here's one now carrying a load of tortilla plates. And all borne, you will notice, not by the chest, but by a leather band, bearing down hard across the forehead. One of the few people in the world who carry a load in this manner. Most of the girls around here are extremely attractive, the prettiest of smiles. Many of them carrying on their heads a heavy, square-shaped piece of cloth, a most peculiar affair, a sort of combination. A sunshade for the eyes, a pad on which to carry their baskets, and last but not least, I discovered a hat. Here's a typical Guatemalan family, a mixture of Mayan and Spaniard, and quite proud of their Spanish ancestry. Watch the bright expression on this woman's face. A very intelligent people. In fact, even in the eyes of the young, you can note the heritage of a high order of past civilization. On my way, I ran into these interesting women, with the most exceptional headgear of all, and discovered that they were made of some kind of stocking yarn. There are hundreds of yards of yarn in just one of these turbans. And I couldn't help thinking what a good time a kitten would have if one of them began to unravel. These women are all social leaders of importance, and well-to-do, that is, well, according to their ideas. Later, I bumped into what you might call a community fountain. It's made in sections. One is a laundry, one a local soda fountain, and the other, well, your dog or mule can drink from. And as I walked along, I heard the sound of bells, which was summoning the pilgrims who had traveled to worship at the feet of the Black Christ. These bells originally came from Spain 200 years ago. probably called hundreds of thousands of other pilgrims. In the distance I saw the great cathedral of Esquipulas, which housed the holy image, a place of miracles, where the sick are healed and the lame become strong again. The streets are full of little booths around here, selling all manner of cooked foods and all sorts of curios, relics, rosaries, some heavy but mostly fragile, and curious wreaths of Spanish moss and yellow gourds which every pilgrim buys, placing them around their hats. Then afterwards buying themselves candles of brilliant colors for votive purposes. Most of them bring along everything they own, so that they too and all their possessions may be blessed. For instance, this devout old lady of over 80 years had actually walked 100 miles on her pilgrimage and had done it for 40 years. Among her things, she never forgets her old mantilla of lace, which she only wears on occasions such as this. The old and the young, strong and the weak, well-to-do on his fat mule, poor man walking with his pack. Here's one of them now, a real lion. Cheery soul, isn't he? With the others, he entered the church, a continuous crowd, surging up the worn stone steps, and I caught some of the fervent spirit they vibrated. Even this, though, did not prepare me for the amazing wave of faith which greeted me as I stepped from the hot sunshine into the cool, somber reverence of the cathedral. First things I noticed were the discarded crutches of those who were healed, the crude drawings made by others as their humble offering of thanks, and the ragged pieces of garment torn from their clothes, given with prayers of gratitude and devotion. I gazed upon the humble devotees, their eyes ablaze and full of adoration. The whole of the vast nave was filled with thousands of kneeling natives like thee, each with lighted candle in hand. A sea of brown faces, a field of stars, and from somewhere came the tones of an old organ rolling out devotional chants. With the tears streaming down their faces, the pilgrims prayed to Idolas, as they called him, to him who brought life, color, and joy into their drab lives, loving with all the faith of their primitive souls, the most holy, the black Christ, hanging upon a golden cross. Silver altars, the gorgeous vestments of the priests, clouds of incense rising from golden chalices, and through the perfumed smoke, that sea of faces, those twinkling stars. As I watched, this little pathetic figure in black caught my eye. Was she praying for some lost loved one, or the consolation she knew would come? One little candle, offered in memory, and upon the floor another. For what? Perhaps to call a blessing upon the little wooden crutch, that too might become a memory, that she might once more become the perfect image that God had intended her to be. So I left. Leaving the town, my thoughts wandered to that little figure in black again. I couldn't help but think of those words. God heard thee, he hath not forgot. Faith shall at length prevail. Yea, know it. Not one smallest jot of all his word can fail. But if ye truly have believed, not vain hath been thy prayer. As God is true, thy hope shall come, sometime, some way, somewhere.